Windmill 2023, and we have a Iceni game in front of us here in the women's division, still in the Swiss draw rounds here. The almighty algorithm must be satisfied. Make your committals, your offerings, your pledges to the gods of ultimate here on the pitch. Iceni coming out on defense in white, Spice, the youngsters coming out of Great Britain, in dark, and getting us underway. Hicks with a high catch. So travelling all the way to Amsterdam to play a fellow British team. That one maybe gets a little bit of a tip from Sarah Hills, but certainly sails over Amy Van Sale. And Iceni with their first opportunity to break. Myself, Hannah Penderbury, inside the commentary booth with Luke Burgess, who's just come back off of the pitch, having had a pretty tight game, didn't you, Luke?
Yeah, Universe Point lost to Norway mixed, but super fun game.
Well, body rising high and launching, didn't have any force on, so threw exactly what she wanted. And it's a deep ball to Hannah Thompson to get our first point and a break for Iceni in this game.
Well, that's an impressive start from the team from London. Both these teams have had several fantastic matchups over the last season or so. Both teams have a few representatives on the GB women's side that we'll be seeing at EUC this year as well. So expect some intense, high-level ultimate all throughout this game.
Well, and a nice, quick defensive break for Iceni. Just 4 passes required to do it. An overcommittal on that bid for trying to get the disc away from Hannah Body. And yep, exactly, Ripper. And congratulations, early doors, by the way, to Hannah Thompson, who recently got engaged. Had a trip to Switzerland planned with her Frisbee boyfriend, now fiance, of course. And actually ended up catching some of the action at the Elite Invite in Bern, having just freshly got engaged at the top of a mountain. Apparently there was some tripod assembling going on, but massive crowds. But a dropped pole, oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what, 2 big errors early doors for Spice might give this game away. Pope striding towards the disc. Has Dahlman junking in front. Goes around to Marsh. Kim Marsh, of course, formerly of Smog Ultimate. Hills now. Very low pivot, but the disc just dribbles into the grass. Stu trying to look over the top of Kim Marsh's head to find an option. Has one in the form of Gibson. Big shot, going to be collected well. Wilkinson lasers it through, but smashing it away. It's Sarah Hills. So 1 point on the board so far for Iceni. Can they get a second break in a row? Dahlman trying to get herself some upper arm tan, having shuffled the shirt sleeves away. Looking a little bit lost for options, but finds an escape valve, does Lenton. Big shot out of the paws of Kim Marsh. Has lots of players jostling and tacking under the space, but it's Freya Lenton who grabs the goal.
Wow, what a reception from Lenton. Got her body in the way early and just ran the disc down. So Spice had a dropped pull early in the game yesterday on stream against the Polish national side, but that didn't seem to faze them as they went on to crush the rest of the game. Iceni, on the other hand, might be a slightly taller order, especially with such a strong start. 2 breaks in a row. Iceni looking untouchable right now.
Well, they have had some faltering moments. There was a pass where Hills went for a very big, ambitious, low pivot and ended up throwing the disc, unfortunately, into the floor. But yeah, a big reception for Lenton, formerly of Uprising from back in the day.
Formerly of Spice.
Also that's also accurate, yes.
Isaac, you get the score.
So, yep, not the longest Frisbee CV in the world, certainly, but getting up there. Of course, we have seen some Spice players move to different clubs this season. Some of them have just moved geographic location and continuing to play for Spice. Of course, the team that was created post under-24 cycle many moons ago, I believe when a lot of the club was single, and now a lot of them are loved up, so they won't be sleuthing around the pitches here at Windmill, all the parties trying to, find some European love. But I do hear that some of their more loved up players are going to be wing-manning some of their fellow teammates. So never know. This is lovely flow though, passing to and fro. Huge redemption shot. Neve getting low. Popping that one high. Gibson throwing the assist and a great celebration from Spice for their first point on the board. They needed that hole desperately and they steady the ship.
Yeah, that's more like it from Spice. Yesterday against Poland again, we saw them doing really well once the disc was moving. They were having some difficulty from static starts, but once they got into their flow, into their rhythm, they looked fantastic, and that's just what we saw in that point. So they can put the first 2 points of the game behind them, lift their heads up high, and know that they can bring that kind of energy, that kind of flow the rest of this game.
And also Spice have had an interesting time of it on the mentality front. They had an injury happen yesterday, which I know it's always really difficult for a team, especially a younger team, to recover from seeing one of their players fall to that kind of misfortune. But if you're going to be injured at any tournament, I have to say Windmill's probably one of the ones where you're going to be slightly less miserable. You are in the heart of such a wonderful festival atmosphere, so there's plenty of lovely things going on to just cheer you on and bring your head back up into the game, not least watching your teammates play some excellent Frisbee. So a big pull, it's going to land just out of bounds. Oh no, inbounds. It looked like it hit the tape to me, but all called good by Iceni. Body underneath. Going low for that clap catch to Dahlman, but all looks fairly steady. Good defence upfield, shutting down the unders, just trying to containment on this space. Lenton popping around. Hills to Marsh. You can hear the yell of trap as they're trying to trap to the near sideline. Van Zyl calls it out of bounds, and I do happen to agree that was right in front of our desk, and Body's foot just stamped that line as she got possession. So the trap pays off. Gibson to pick it up. Of course, Heather Gibson, one of the two Gibson sisters on this Spice team. That's a lot of love for the two of them. It's like Kate Gibson even. Is a number 51. They look nothing alike, but I always seem to manage to get them confused just for funsies. It's Kate Gibson at 51, finds Bailey. Another of the OG Spice players as that stall rose up, has the power position, takes a shot over the top. There's a little bit of a flutter from the fingertips of Kim Marsh, but that one, it gets just enough fluffed on it to reach the intended target.
Yeah, Spice are right back in it. That previous point definitely gave them some confidence. And a slight mistake from Iceni was all it took for Spice to punch in the break. Really good focus on this catch. So we see Kate Gibson in the power position. You're right, they do look nothing alike. I'm fortunate enough to have met Kate significantly earlier than I met Heather. So I don't have the confusion.
So for me, it's a thing of I got it very wrong once, and then was like, I always second guess myself. And I think that's the thing, when you second guess yourself is when you always get it wrong. But I have zero ego in this. We have a very long Frisbee Rolodex, is the unfortunate thing. But the important thing is, regardless of whether your name is Heather or Kate, if you're a Gibson sister, I'm here for you. But at the moment, it is a game of equals. Thus far, Iceni grabbing those two breaks, coming out on offense, so still retaining the advantage from gaining that early lead. But all leveled up at 2 apiece. So that one will be brought back in bounds. Very zesty pool. Chi moves it across. Looks like Doug on that far side. It is indeed. Wearing Fee's number, but she's going to throw it away. Rosie Bailey just tapping the disc to make sure no one lurking, able to make a defensive bid. Not defensive bid, offensive bid. And if you are enjoying this coverage, let us know where you're tuning in from on the live chat. And of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. If we get enough likes, we might bring you some celebrity Frisbee pundit action to wet your whistle. But this is nice movement. Just squeezing it up the line from Spice, but happy enough to do it. Shooting into the deep space. Gibson underneath it. There's nearly a sneak through from Chi, but that is a good clutch goal.
And I believe, Hannah, we're back on serve. Once more, just wonderful flow from Spice down that far sideline. Just hitting every single pass. Iceni a few steps behind on each one. And then good focus again from Kate Gibson in the end zone to bring that one down. We have a game on our hands, Hannah.
Whew, well, what a relief. We definitely have no skin in the game as to who wins these ones. We just want to get the tightest game of Ultimate possible. As we see some clipboarding, I believe Beeching is just, sorry, not Beeching, Kenneth. Amelia Kenneth is there with the clipboard for Iceni. Of course, Beeching is a Bristol. But I need to put my head back on my shoulders. I had a bit of a stressful night last night. It was I got woken up halfway through my sleep cycle by someone sort of standing over me. I did think for a moment they might be in our tent in a not good way, but it turned out it was only Milan. So I did have a bit of a stressful sleep after that. So apologies for my errors. I'm still waking up this morning. It's okay, Milan, I still love you. He's running the desk like an absolute hero. Considering what time he came into the tent, he is looking fine and fresh, like a spring lamb bounding across these fields. And of course, he is, apart from maybe Mike Palmer, the most hard-working member of our ULTI.TV crew. So we still love you, Milan. Big shot from Pope, trying to hit Body, but it's going to be out of bounds. That might have been good enough for the athlete line, but not certainly for the pitch itself.
Yeah, it went a bit wide. Nice idea from Iceni, but I feel like after letting Spice back into this game, they just need to keep their heads on, take it a bit easy, complete some passes, get some confidence back. But Kate Gibson walking in for Spice.
So yep, starting from pretty much dead on centre pitch. Gibson around to Van Sale. You can hear the shout from the sideline, probably through our microphone, of around. That where is the threat is. Previous point, it was all about squeaking it up that sideline, so presumably Iceni will want to do it in mere force middle, and that one just escapes the fingers of Sophie Mance. Bit of a risky biscuit that was unnecessary at that stage. So Iceni now just looking to snag themselves a hold after conceding those two, breaks straight back with that huge counter response from Spice. Directing traffic is Dahlman. Lenton through now to Nosovic. There is absolutely nobody striking deep for her. She just put it out on a rope. But that does also tail off in a quirky way.
Yeah, I was watching the monitor on that throw, thinking that the camera just hadn't picked up the receiver, but no, there was no one there.
So a chuck to no man's land, playing a little bit of yards perhaps, is Nos, as she's affectionately known. Wonderful player, originally hailing from the lands down under, but has been on the London Ultimate scene for a little while. Big shot from Spice, a bit of a throw it open. Oh, and it just again does not quite connect for that final shot. A nice idea, but just the drop in the end zone. Too much zest on that perhaps for Rayleigh. So isolation for Hannah Body, but cannot be found. Good mark on the thrower. Looks like Spice are trying to force Iceni towards the edges of the pitch. It's a straight shot up, but it bobbles out of Lenton's hands. Too much mustard on that for sure. Van Sale. Rising up high. It's Wilkinson. Rosie Bailey now. High one for Gibson. Had Bailey going up line, chooses her a little bit late, but Bailey with the eyes on the prize. Oh, nearly! Took that a little bit too aggressive and sort of bops herself.
Yeah, it was over her head. Difficult catch. She almost got the tip onto her head for the head catch, which would have been sensational. But this point continues. And it feels with every turnover like this point's becoming more and more important for the rest of the game.
Absolutely. This is a must-hold situation for Iceni. Otherwise, that's 4 unanswered for Spice, which is going to be, as you say, like a big momentum changer. Surprised not to see either team call a timeout yet, with the turnover count rising pretty significantly. Body, fancy footwork on the near sideline. Gibson's going to call it out, but no one has communicated to Body about that. Well, perhaps we might get that one back on a frame by frame. Certainly, the players on the pitch can ask to see our VAR screens if they'd like to. See if we can clip that one up for you. We do just have a wonderful camera one this morning, working hard under the beating sun. We've been trying to think about what we can do to put some sun hats on our cameras, because they're getting very warm out here. So a contested out of bounds call means we're going to come back in on 6 with the disc in Captain Pope's hands. Another season of captaincy for Catherine Pope, formerly of Exeter Uni. And of course Excel, but there's great defence on that undershot. Just slapping the disc away is Sophie Mance. What was that, Luke?
I guess it was out then.
Is that a bit of Shakira disc don't lie? Gibson looking around for options. Stall count rising high, but also are they arms of Ray Lee? Oh, that's a lovely around pass. Can anyone get free on that side? No. Shoot to the middle. Fun sale. Gibson just needs... Oh, exploiting the face mark of Kat Pope. That's not the level of defense we're used to seeing Pope play. That's all I'll say.
Well, it was a very sneaky, very intelligent move. And a good throw to link it up as we see another look. Yeah, Pope's just a little bit far off, gets caught out.
It's not what you expect to see. You expect in that spot, you've got Pope with her back towards the disc and sort of the hips open towards the end zone. So she is able to, you know, catch up if there is that strike cut, but actually you're not giving yourself the awareness of what's happening. You're not really looking at your player, not really looking at the disc. It would be nice to see a bit more of like a taking the body away, closing off that space with the hips, standing more aggressively in front of Gibson, because realistically, she has the athletic abilities and the agility to just burn up that line, which is exactly what we saw. But by turning yourself that way, you don't give yourself the opportunity to really react and see what's happening, because it's just the face mark that gets exploited. You don't know where the disc is.
Yeah, and especially because it was on the break side, so the end zone is the most threatening. It always is. Defense is not that hard. Just don't let them catch it in the end zone, you know?
It's a bit like offense is easy. Just score more points than the opposition. So bringing in our Euro disc drone cam. Best perspective now. Oh, look at this. It's like an ultimate video game. It's so beautiful. Lovely slinky pass through for Iceni. Jalink looking around for the reset. Finds one in Ellis. Big fan of the Nordic curls is Charlie Ellis. Or not. Big poach off at the back of the end zone, but poaching run through block. Yes, please. Hicks. High one. Well kept by Joe Robinson. Sporting some deep space shorts, but actually recently played the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships last weekend with Crash the Zone coming out of pool. Oh, that's zesty and a half, and there's a layout, but it gets ground stripped. Heartbreaking stuff for Spice. That would be their 5th point in a row.
Oh, their fast break offense always looks so good, and it looked good once again. Absolutely savage throw through the middle from Heather Gibson to open up that end zone play, but Iceni do get the disc back. And they really need this point. They are bleeding.
Well weighted and great footwork there from Charlie Ellis. It didn't look great, but that's a bit too hasty. Phoebe, no, not Phoebe, Tessa Jalink even, running into the end zone.
The hardest throw in the ultimate is the lead pass to an open receiver in the end zone.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe she was just too free. Everyone got confused. So I was like, surely there's going to be a... I don't need to throw it perfectly because there's definitely going to be a pick that's happened miles away. No, that was just Iceni absolutely rinsing their matchups. Grace with a good rundown. That's Grace Sissel. So a short field opportunity. Chi with the disc definitely needs to pop this one in. Great handler defense and pressure from Robinson. Chang. All the way around the back of the mark to Thompson. Of course, with GB Women. Hammer over the top from the ex-Cobras player. Finds another Hannah, but she drops it. Tell you what, I know both those athletes love to play indoors, so that shocks me deeply. But yes, Hannah Thompson with the hammer.
It was a really good look. And you can't really complain if the receiver gets 2 hands to it, you know? So, yeah, I love it. But let's see what Spice can do once again off of a static start.
Indeed, yeah. Well, certainly, I know that will add fire to the bank for Hannah Leong. She'll want to get that one back in her hand. So Robinson now, high one to Otta. Feisty fakes, overshoots Gibson. So Heather Gibson, of course, a brain for ultimate conditioning, strength and conditioning work. Ellis underneath that one, time and space, because she'd gotten plenty of steps, and there we go, perfectly executed. That's how you throw a lead pass into the end zone, folks. A lovely high release, nice and simple, and lots of hang. And Thompson collects for, at long last, an Iceni goal. But that was, look at the stats line here for the last 2 points. We had 6 turnovers and lots of very low pass counts for the possessions.
Yeah, it's turned into a real slugfest of a game. Both teams playing very aggressive, confident ultimate, but not executing enough to actually get the goals. We've had plenty of drops in the end zone after a couple passes.
Yeah, currently residents of Heartbreak Hotel are plenty of the athletes out here on the pitch for both sides. A timeout being called, presumably Iceni to give their O-line a bit of a break. So as the athletes out here on the pitch take a break under the hot sun, we will too. We'll be back with more of this action after these messages. Well, Potter's in the chat saying spice me up with lots of chili emojis and some fire. Well, I'll tell you what, this game is delivering plenty of fiery, spicy, hot action as Luke Burgess consumes calories like it's going out of fashion. They, of course, are playing out here on the pitches. How is it in the heat?
It's rough.
He says, they say through a trek bar. Yeah, we've got some granola-y action going on here in the booth. Hicks with a casual one-handed grab. Not a fan of that. Throwing into coverage for sure. Oh, it's a tip, but is it going to be a Mac for a goal? Yes, it is. Oh, Haley Dahlman, we know you can make those grabs, mate. Come on. No, to be fair, it is difficult. It is going full stretch, but I love to watch Haley Dahlman receive discs in the air, and I think if she'd been on offense, she definitely would have caught that for the goal.
Oh, absolutely, but it was just the perfect macking angle, as we see again on the replay. Goes up early, but it's at that angle, there's not much wind. It's going to sit up. Yeah, and well run down. Don't give up on the disc until it hits the ground.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm without wanting to sound mean, it did really look to me like Dahlman didn't try and catch it. She was trying for that push block, but it is a very still day. There's no extra winds to help it sail up or sail away, and you really do have to, in such a tight game like this, go all the way. Because if you're going to mack it on, at least run it down afterwards also. You know, like, that's the pro move. But yeah, so we're trading off them. What was that, Luke? I like that.
Yeah, make the block easier for yourself by macking it.
So Chang, high. There's a little bit of friendly fire underneath that one. Thompson getting in the way of Ellis. Of course, a couple of GB women's athletes matching up against each other. In fact, that one exactly there is to see a game of pinball for one. Looks like Aspen. Big shot going into the deep space. Leong didn't get any communication there to know that it was up. Christy Toe, who a couple of seasons back was a brand new player joining this Spice outfit and immediately came into the fold. But I tell you what, she might actually have been in bounds on the first reception. Either that, or there's going to be called a straddle or a travel. Travel. Oh, look at that hand signal action. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's a travel. It looked like her pivot foot was set inside the end zone.
But yeah, that hand signal synchronicity. Get these athletes on a dance floor. Oh, wait, we're at Windmill. It will happen tonight. And a squeeze through. Oh, look at that celebration. Hoo, hoo.
Yeah, huge spike. Love to see it.
Yeah, as long as it's not an edge down, we're okay. No edge down spiking, please. We don't like it. It hurts the disc. I know it doesn't hurt the disc that much, but it hurts the disc's feelings. The disc has feelings, yo. And you don't want a disc to have hurt feelings because then it might not be your friend in the end zone next time. It's Windmill. We're getting all of the stuff out the barrel, you know, scraping out those edges of our weird commentary.
Yeah, we've got serious tournaments to commentate coming up, so we've got to get it out of the system now.
Indeed. When you've got certain branding on your clothing, you can't get away with this sort of thing. No, I think you can. I think an idea of the disc having feelings is probably very apt for Ultimate because there's a lot of feelings to catch around the fields here. But the vibes here in Windmill are incredible.
Yeah, I mean, all the countries where we see like edge down spiking being kind of a thing, there's a massive amount of privilege in being able to just have loads of discs. But in countries where discs are hard to get to, i.e. all of Africa, i.e. India, there's a real culture of like, don't even spike the disc, just do not damage them. These are precious. They're so difficult to get.
That is actually a really apt observation, Luke. The idea of there being an unlimited supply of discs. I still enjoy the fact that Rahel Toshnedova last season decided as a joke to say, oh, hold on, that's not a joke. That's a fantastic effort at a bit through Christy Toe. But the idea of there being I can't get my fun facts out because Spice are just playing such fantastic defense. Gibson with the run-through block after Toe put the huge amount of pressure. And then just slinking it slowly towards the end zone. Patience. Gibson turning on the jets and then just running through to collect yet another break in this game. That's 7-3 to Spice. They get themselves within one. So Kate Gibson grabbing that one. And that is, of course, Fun Sale, the 67. So another break for Spice. They didn't start this one off well, Luke, but they have certainly, I don't know, if you've been secretly handing out granola bars on the sidelines to get them all jeeved up.
I do have a lot of granola bars with me. I haven't given any to these teams. The most intervention I've had in this particular game was saying "Let's go, Sarah" to Sarah Hills on the sideline as I walked over, which apparently hasn't helped. But Sarah's doing all right. It's just the rest of Iceni maybe isn't doing so well.
Well, it is an Iceni team with a couple of pickups that are, not part of their normal fold. I know Spice are missing a couple of athletes, but generally speaking, it's people they are training with on a fairly regular basis. A couple of Spice athletes are creeping over the athlete lines that are supposed to keep them away from the pitch sides. Of course, in the UK, we're not always used to having that much room between our pitches, but we get that benefit down here. So Chi finding Ellis. Ellis opening up the arm. She has the eye contact. She has Chessa Jalik underneath it. But unfortunately, also Marina Symington is there and gets a big old block.
Yeah, really well positioned on defense. Got there early, went up. Love to see it.
So just squeaking that one past. But there is a bit of a tumble for Gibson. And that gives possession right back. Iceni, I don't think they were playing for yards on that back shot. That's going to sit and hang high. And Hannah Thompson with the stature over the top. Posterizing grab.
Yeah, what a catch. That'll hype Iceni up a little bit. They have some work to do to get back in this game, but it all starts with the point you're currently playing.
Absolutely, you just have to keep punching these in. There was good pressure underneath it, but you can see that little bit of extra stretch for Hannah Thompson. And I can speak from experience that she's quite good in the air. She's a little bit shorter than I am, but she's roofed me a good couple of times. But originally from the University of Chichester, who's not a programme we get to shout out too often, but playing Ultimate with Horsham Hippos as well, which it's a really interesting team name, but they definitely have put on so many lovely tournaments, real like fueling the UK Ultimate scene with just keeping events running, especially post-pandemic over in I've completely forgotten exactly where it is, but it's sort of in that West Sussexy region.
Yeah, they're a really like fun social team, and it was great to see them continue that vibe after the pandemic.
Indeed, they've got juniors, they've got masters players, they've got it all, a little bit of everything. So giving various club teams a shout out here. Neve looking around for options and finds a mark in the form of body eventually. Lou now. That one's a little bit low, but fine for Van Sale. Gibson now. She shoots. Oh, and she's surely not going to score with that one. It's way too big. Lucy Cinnamon gives up on that quite quickly.
Yeah, there's so much space on that side of the end zone, but the throw is just a bit too far. Would have been nice to get some float on that disc.
It was also very bladey shape-wise, wasn't it? It's kind of came down a little bit too hard. Maybe a flatter pass would work?
Yeah, that was the issue. Maybe a hammer or like a high-release flick.
Ooh, or a scuba maybe. A scuba would hit that nicely, but that's going to throw just straight out of bounds for Douglas. So, swing through to Neve, Gibson underneath. Sister Love on the far side. Two anchors of this offense for sure. Gibson and Gibson. Lovely one through. Stu puts it into traffic. Oh, nearly, but well kept. Good spacing and attack by Van Sale. She throws the break. It's flat and it's going to work out. Kate Gibson grabbing that one in and another point on the board. And that is half a commanding 8-4 lead for Spice.
Yeah, really impressive from Spice to come back from those two breaks at the start of this game. They're looking dominant, looking confident. Even the slightly awry throws, it doesn't let them. Their heads aren't dropping. They're just continuing to run, continuing to work, and yeah, four points on the board for Iceni is less than I would expect.
Indeed, especially with that strong start where they were able to punch in two breaks, one completely cleanly, one took on the second asking to open us up in this game. But at the moment, Spice are looking confident, and I think they're really finding their money on the marks. So many of those first couple of passes for Iceni when they have the disc are just a little bit sticky. So let's see if the teams can clean it up in the second half if you're an Iceni fan, or ride the vibe if you are in the spicy camp. But we will be back after this message for the second half of this women's pool play game. hard-working camera ops underneath the sun deciding they don't even want to take a break. They just want to get you all of these luxurious glamour shots of the athletes out here on the pitch. If you are coaching Iceni right now, Luke, what on earth do you say?
It's tricky. It very much looks like the systems that they've practiced aren't really working for them. Spice's defense has been hot, pun intended. So they maybe need to try something else. I don't know if they have any more options in their playbook, but I think the first point of order is just completing some passes, getting a point on the board, and then seeing if they can make some magic happen on defense.
It does feel like Spice are doing a great job of pinning Iceni to the sidelines. We know they've been intentionally trapping them in a couple, so maybe it's that sort of force out, which you can adjust to that. You can make your plays intentionally. So, maybe you just put a bit of side stack on and actually make that kind of isolation. We have seen some of that action. We've seen some points where they've tried to isolate Hannah body. The forces are doing a fantastic job. So maybe it's a case of just putting more people, more personnel in the handler spot, trying to push through from the back, get that momentum that way. But what do you think in the live chat? Do you think we should see side stack? Do you think we should see more horizontal? Throw out in the comments what do you think, also the live chat, what you think we should be doing if you're an Iceni fan. But also we do have a lot of love for the Spice outfit. Big shot to body. Again, they're looking to isolate her. This time it's in the deep space, and again the throw doesn't quite come out on the money.
Yeah, see, that is one example of not building confidence. If you're just going to bang it deep and turn over, like bang it deep and scoring would, be amazing. But I think complete some passes first, then bang it deep, and that you'll, as a team, feel a bit more confident about your offense.
So Spice with the opportunity once more for a break. This would be a great counter-attack. There's a huge layout bid and an action roll there for Christy Toe. And you can hear the call from the sideline of trap once again. So we are indeed trying to force them out of bounds. And that one, Hannah Body really trying to just put the team on her shoulders right now. And she usually can do that. Right now, not having maybe just a little bit too much of the party last night, do you think, maybe, Luke?
Well, as these games go on, I know it's the first round of the day, it does get tiring. The heat is oppressive.
Well, Mance with the disc and some New Zealand shorts. She love to see those birds. Toe, popping, giving and going. Vance around. Gibson now. Putting a lot of duty in this game, and that's a great distribution to that front corner. Pick call. Although it did look like there were defenders in Vance's area, so... Oh no, out call then. There we go. Lots of Iceni and Spice players signalling that out of bounds. So maybe getting spooked by the athlete line tape there.
Yeah, I was a bit confused as well when I saw the catch as to whether it was in the end zone or on the sideline.
Yeah, we just need more tape. Tape on tape on tape to make sure that the vividness of the lines is apparent. But Iceni given an opportunity here off of that error. Thompson. Still don't like the casual one-hand grab. Oh, the good buzz switch there, but didn't quite manage to make the block. Simultaneous catching action in the end zone. There'll be a little bit of chat about that one.
But Kate has the disc in her hands, so I think she wins the moral battle. Have a great turnover.
There is indeed, turnover. Well, there you go. Luke Burgess knows exactly what's going on, even when I don't. But there's an immediate throwaway. So Shakira was definitely a catch, yeah. Body. Happy to anchor at the back. That's a beautifully weighted throw, but it's a bit too saily. And 2 defenders able to... Oh, interesting call there. Although, to be fair, the action replay we're getting out of Charlie Ellis is that there's a bit of a push from the back shoulder. That was a loose disc that ended up in a sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that there's some contact on this play. We'll see what the players agree to.
Well, everyone did have to slow down and hustle because you have 4 players contesting exactly the same space. So that's going to be a contested foul that will return to the palms of Hannah Body.
Yeah, pretty reasonable resolution, I think.
Always best to go back to the last uncontested bit of play if you are unsure as to what's occurred. But certainly, I think Body will be pleased to have that one back. It wasn't her best throwing effort. Of course, has spent quite a long time of her playing career just being a body downfield. And there is a huge runoff. Everybody from Spice just coming in to play some help defense, and Gibson getting the block on the second ask. Now, can they put in that first pass? They do, she says, backing that one to connect. But it looked pretty good to Bailey. Oh, but a drop, giving another short field opportunity. Can Iceni make the most of this one? Thompson finds one around to Lenton. Chi now. Oh, and there's a little bit of fingertip snag to get the block again. Kate Gibson, what a machine.
She's all over this point. Involved in basically every one of Iceni's turnovers, whether there was a foul call or not. And a timeout.
Yeah, I can understand exactly why she's called that. It's looking a bit scrappy for Spice on the underneath. This isn't the same flow we saw earlier, so let's see if they can pull it back together as they take a break. We will too, but we'll be back with all of the action after this.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at ULTI.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
As the pitch behind us erupts with energy and noise, which must be a break opportunity for somebody over in the open division on the live stream pitch. We have Spice with a commanding lead over Iceni in this Spicini Swiss draw matchup. But at the moment, we're getting a bit of failure to launch. This point stretching on. There's been 9 turnovers, Luke Burgess. How are we feeling? Because I'm feeling a bit weird.
Exhausted. We're just watching. But we've got Iceni, Spice even setting up in their classic hex offense. Typically, they've been trying to hit that hat position in the middle with a sort of lateral fake to one side and then a little bounce back. Let's see if that works for them again.
Oh, it's almost like you know exactly what you're talking about, Luke. I like the help defense being played there, trying to come underneath and give a sandwich of Wilkinson. But now the space is found. That was a little bit high. Oh, she has a go at the second attempt as toe. Talk about keeping your eyes on the prize, but didn't quite work out.
Oh, I respect the effort. It probably would have been out if it was a catch anyway, but why not try, you know?
Oh, absolutely. For the stream. For the stream! So Thompson getting us underway. Chi. Like Prince, we only have one name for Chi. Iconic. Body. Putting a one into the deep space. There's a big attack underneath it. And what a defensive effort. Closing the door, even with no height. Comparatively, Ella Hamilton-Fode. Whoa!
Impressive defense on that. I liked the idea of putting something up to the break side, but Spice were all over it.
Well, they sort of seem to be all over it in this game. Just generally, they are really turning up on defense. Can they thread something together, though, weaving their way through the pitch? Gibson looking over that shoulder, and the throw out of bounds. That's going to be another short field gift as we get another turnover. Are we in double digits now? We must be in double digits. Surely it's 11.
Yes, it is. This is still the first point of the second half, just to remind everyone at home, if you've sort of been drifting in and out of focus on the game. It's still 8-4 and has been for a while.
It's just sort of what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. So Thompson to Ellis. Big chuck. That's going to sail way over the top. But underneath, scooping is Chi. Goes for the fake of the dish. I like that holster. Just need to punch it in. It's high, but there is rising. Hannah Thompson finally escapes the mark of Ella Hamilton-Fode and claims a goal at long last. And I feel like maybe we need to take a breather, Luke.
Yeah, that was a long one. And I'm still not convinced that Iceni really have any confidence in them. Every single throw seems to be just a little bit off. The shots they're taking to the end zone are speculative. They're quite high, relying on their big receivers, Hannah Thompson in particular, to come down with these discs, rather than just completing some nice, easy passes. It's easier said than done against the Spice defense, but they've got the abilities to do it. They were doing it earlier in the game. But that's as good a start to the second half as they could have. All that matters at the end of the day is the point on the board. But they now need to either figure something out on defense or just rely on the fact that this has been a very turnover-heavy game and just try and hope for a block and then focus on converting the offense after the block comes.
So, second point in the second half, and let's hope it has at least only half of the turnovers of the previous one. We had 12 in the last one, and a lot of those turnovers were on the third pass. So, trying to clean things up. Heather Gibson, bring it to the brick mark. Feisty fakes to get us started. Neve. Has the upline available. Oh, and that's a big old sandwich. Nosovic coming through from behind. Not sure I greatly enjoyed that play. Did get through in time, but only just. Good pops. Gibson now. Looking around. Has the swing available. Happy to take it a little bit late to Neve. Oh, good adjustment from Gibson, turning all the way around. Now moving forward, Otta. Otta pops back, swinging it around, and there is the open shot. Oh, yes, please. That's so much nicer. A clean hold. And we're back in rhythm.
Yeah, it's much more like it from Spice. And in contrast to that previous point, they looked so confident, so comfortable on the disc. Just moving it from side to side. And textbook end zone offense gets the job done once again. Good stuff from Spice.
Well, it's showing the power of the fresh seven, isn't it, Luke? It's that, you get the people who've been, champing at the bit on the sidelines being like, come on, yo, I want to get on the pitch. And it's nice to see them not be too hasty. I mean, that inside backhand that we saw Heather Gibson have to turn all the way around the world to collect. I mean, what poise that athlete has.
It's a good catch.
Any other feelings
No, I just thought it was a good catch.
about the game?
Well, there's still potential for Iceni to come back, but they do need to clean up their offense. Mostly, I think the issue is on offense. I mean, let's worry about dealing with Spice's very nice-looking, flowy offense once they've got some points on the board. But they need their pool players to produce something, and they just haven't.
Well, this is all about the Swiss draw format, and if you are a Spice fan, a commanding defeat of their opponents will really mean a whole heck of a lot as they try and power themselves into the championship bracket. Of course, the top 8 teams will advance to quarters, and the rest will just play for consolidation. Ellis near sideline. Big ripper of a backhand has Thompson looking toasty. Oh, and going over the top, doing exactly what she does best. And that's a really nice clean hold as a good counter response. Still with the deficit, but that's much better.
Well, that's a fantastic start to the second half for Iceni. After that first monster point, we get 2 clean holds in a row. And now there's some belief back in this Iceni side. Their pool play initially was shut down by Spice, and I was a bit worried seeing just 2 handlers in the backfield completely isolated from the rest of the receivers, but they made it work. They hit some unders, and fantastic shot to the end zone.
So this performance at the moment is going to do quite the difference to the Swiss draw format. At the moment, in this 20-team strong division, and amazing, of course, to see that happen for the first time here in Windmill, getting equal numbers of open and women's teams. Spice Ultimate are currently ranked 15th in the standings, whereas Iceni are ranked 11th. And the top spots, of course, we have all national teams up to the point of La Septima from Colombia, and then Austria women sneaking in. But the rest of the club teams currently pushed out of the standings. So this might make some topsy-turviness if Spice can hold on to their lead that they've gotten here, which they will be, I'm sure, cognizant of needing to do to see themselves in the big show later. Symington with the delicate footwork in front of our booth. Good popping. Can you move through, please? Thank you. Robinson popping back. Symington through to Gibson. Reaching one-handed grabs. Marina Symington throws. Van Tyle just shy, and there's a lovely target right at the back of the end zone. Way to get out of each other's space, but there's a pick called. That's retracted because it didn't affect that one. Not at all. So that's a good hold for Spice. They maintain their big lead in this game.
Yeah, it turns out she wasn't suspiciously free. She was just free. As we get another look of that score. So neither team is interested in turning over. It's more like it. But this is going to be a difficult task for Iceni to come back. Running out of time, only 15 minutes or so left to play. And Spice do not look interested in letting go of any of this lead.
And it's also a brutal format. Draws are allowed, so if you don't have the time left on the clock to punch points in, it is just to finish the final point when time expires in these games. There's no requirement for the leading team to finish off by scoring that final extra point until, of course, we get into the championship bracket play, which we will be focusing our attention on. So Iceni to keep themselves within 3 of their opponents. But Spice's defense is going to try everything they can, and it looks like a zone to try and change things up and keep the confidence low for Iceni. They do have shots available over the top, squeaking it through to Thompson. That's going to sit for days, but it doesn't matter because the defense is too far away. Gibson tries, but doesn't have the catch-up speed.
It didn't look like Gibson had any right to make a play on that disc, and she almost did. But great work from Iceni once again. Clean hold, just what we want to see. But they're going to have to come up with something on defense now if they want to come back in this game. What a throw this is.
Looks like Megan Brass underneath it, collecting some coins in the end zone. But yeah, it was a good throw for depth, but it definitely had a bit too much hang time to make you feel entirely comfortable. But it will be good enough, and that's all you need. To be honest, it doesn't matter how you score. It only matters that you actually do score. So we see some fun action behind us, some teams getting ready. Of course, we'll have our next round of mixed games. That looks to be Swedish Royals there in the background by the looks of that. Oh, no, I take it back. It can't be Swedish Royals. Or can it? We'll find out. But some open division action on the pitch behind. It's like the lads of Devon versus some people with very funky kits. What's the best kit you've seen thus far at this Windmill?
Rainbow Brigade kit?
You're not allowed to pick your own kit, Luke.
What? Benji was criticising the Rainbow Brigade kit yesterday, which I was not keen on. But I'll have to think about that. I'll get back to you.
The shorts are probably the best, but the jerseys this season are a bit... The colours of the rainbow aren't quite how I'd like them to be. But this is really lovely flow offence from Spice right now. Gibson working with Robinson that far sideline. Hicks now. Ooh, that one bubbles into the chin of Gibson, but she manages to keep hold of it and doesn't look too flustered at all. Oh, look at that inside flick. Oh, yes. Excitement, excitement. Very exciting, very exciting. Oh, wow. Is that going to be up? Calls it good, and to be honest, the person with the best perspective is the person that caught the Frisbee, so that, again, a little bit dicey on that last one. But I'll tell you what, Heather Gibson making me feel my feelings with that inside flick. That was disgusting.
It was filthy. And the throw after it was pretty good as well, the around break into the end zone. So still no turnovers after... They got all the turnovers for the second half done in the first point, it looks like. And even though Spicer making it a little bit difficult for themselves there with the disc almost hitting the ground, they maintain the clean hold. We have clean second half, kind of. kind of. Yeah, not the most ruthlessly clean one. Van Sale here putting one out, sort of. You can see what she's trying to achieve, but what a redemption from the back of the end zone, just making sure. And it looks like we maybe have a Frisbee mum in the live chat. Possibly. I don't know Hannah Thompson's mum's name, but I presume Jane Thompson, since it's well done Hannah with a kiss with the surname of Thompson. And we love Frisbee parents here on the live stream because they do so much. You know, oftentimes, maybe sometimes parents are helping younger athletes pick up the tab for tournaments, certainly, you know, hosting teams all over the place. And of course, in the first place, having the kids who are smart enough to play this amazing sport. So you must have done something right along the lines. All of you, we love you, Frisbee mums and dads. Oh, and a bit of confusion there. She is out of bounds. Didn't realise that wasn't the line. It's unfortunate. Mike Palmer's been saying for years that we need just like fat sidelines, just huge 1-2 meter width lines, and then you won't get confused.
Well, if you paint the out of bounds area a completely different colour, I can understand. Yeah, that would be probably a pretty smart thing to do. But unfortunately, we as yet don't have that many dedicated ultimate sort of playing fields. Of course, these are soccer fields. Oh my goodness, going straight into traffic with loads of momentum and almost dazing the defense there. I think there is going to perhaps be a call from Fei Chang, because there was a lot of contact as Gibson came through. Feeling there should have been a stoppage.
Yeah, we'll see what the resolution is. There was a bit of a maelstrom of bodies before the assist. It's always a bit difficult to tell what really happened on these calls from the camera, because you can't feel the contact yourself.
Well, looking back, we're doing some cheeky replaying of our own on our own YouTube stream, because we're that smart as humans. And it is one of those things where actually, I think Fei Chang sort of puts herself in that spot as a poach off, and so has every right to be there, is there way earlier than the strike up line cut. So arguably, if there is contact caused, it is by the offensive player.
Yeah, but at the same time, as I can see the offensive player's perspective. If they're just looking at the disc, running into the space, like, of course they're going to make a play on the disc. Like, there's multiple people.
It's both ways, right? In a sense, you have, so Chang does also need to be cognizant of what's happening, right? If a player has committed, they haven't seen you, it's everybody's job to avoid the contact. So there's probably an argument there for Fei Chang has the ability, can certainly, you know, the body was turned, there was the ability for her to see the play developing, but by to right, she was in that space first. So there is I'd say probably a little bit more of a responsibility on Gibson. So it is going to come back. It will remain in Phoebe Aspen's possession, and she's just going to throw one straight flat into the end zone. It gets topped away by the defence. So
It was a foul. So it was a foul, right?
You're a big fan of the Frisbee karma, aren't you, Luke?
Well, when it's the first, when the first throw, like, decides for you, it just, yeah, it does feel like, it feels like karma in a very real sense.
Fair enough. Well, a disc going high into the pack, being ripped down with a plum. Looks like brass underneath it. Iceni changing up their lines, which I actually quite like. Chang now across to the side. Into brass. Flat low one, though, that's going to be tipped away by Gibson. Must be, I don't know, her 8th block of this game or something sensational like that. Maybe just her 4th. Underneath to Stu. Or Stewart to give her full name. She's given a shortened version on our rostering. Nance. Asplin. Getting it back for Gibson. Has a think about that inside in IO. Vance, oh, that's a lovely one, just out in front. Bailey runs it down with ease, and that is 11-7 to Spice.
So good offensive possession there from Spice after that missed throw from Iceni. Worked it very nicely down the pitch for the score as we get another look at this final few passes. And that's what you love to see as a thrower, just wide open player in the end zone.
Well, we will get a scoreboard check for you because it's actually 12-7. We've fallen behind a little bit, but our stats man Helio's keeping us completely au fait with everything that's going on. And as we see a timeout being taken on the pitch, we will too and get that all fixed for you. But we'll be back with the last moments of this game after these messages.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
So 12-7 the score currently. We said we fix it and we forgot to fix it. But 12-7 and there's just under 5 minutes remaining in this women's Swiss straw pool play game where Spice must be thanking their lucky stars. They are currently 5 points clear of their opponents, which would be huge for them in the almighty algorithm. Of course, that Swiss draw format does mean that you really do have to play for every point. So Iceni will look to try and punch as many in as they can. And of course, it's going to be about deep shots to try and make it quick rather than grinding. But that one overshoots Haley Darman.
Yeah, these deep shots from Iceni not coming off as much as they need to. They've had a few good catches in the end zone, but it's typically been a big play from a receiver rather than hitting a streaking cut open in space. Let's see what Spice can do.
Well, again, looking for that first hat position in the hex. Symington looking a little bit stuck for options, but has the reset for Fansale. Low to Gibson. That big laying form of Hills. Trying to cause confusion. Pop through to Robinson. Didn't like that continued to Fansale. Again, a little bit of face marking, but absolutely fine in the back set. Cheeky fake from Fansale. You definitely could throw that one to Gibson, but you don't need to. At this stage, it's just about playing keepy disky. Punch them onto the board, notch yourself a couple extra if you fancy, but that one is just a clap of doom for Abby Lou.
Clap of doom, love it.
It's when you just clap, you know, there's no Frisbee, you can't clap catch, it's just doom. Doom, dismay. When it pinballs straight out your chest, but they throw immediately into the defense. Symington, with the vision, knew exactly where this was going. Great defense. And now completely left for option. Symington. Shooting flat up that side. Hampton now. One of two Frisbee playing siblings. Oh, big layout attempt from Hills. Gibson. Pop back easy to Robinson. Back to Gibson. Goes up line. Well, that kind of slinky inside flicks from Heather Gibson. Oh, and there we go. A nice pop over the top. You didn't get to hear the noise that Luke Burgess made, but that was delightful.
Silky high release flick for the assist. Love that. So once again, Spice just playing really, really good offense. Once they got the disc moving. Beautiful inside break from Heather Gibson. And here's another look at this high release flick. Oh! That wasn't quite the noise I made earlier, but close.
Yeah, it was like that, but with a little bit more vim. But that is a fabulous another break for Spice here in the Spicini Swiss round game. And we have it confirmed. Jane Thompson is indeed Hannah Thompson's mum. Shout out all you Frisbee mums and Frisbee dads. And just Frisbee parents in general. But I tell you what, someone was putting an absolute shift. She's now sort of swaggering towards our commentary booth is Sarah Hills. I think she threw herself at the turf about 4 times in that point, trying to best Gibson. Well, I mean, you've got to go for it, haven't you? You really do.
Yeah, you got to try. That was a lame out. That was a lame out.
Well, she calls it on herself. You got to go for it. You got to try. A lame out, not a layout. But we love to see it anyway. Oh, if it's successful, it's a slay out. All right, then. Well, the spicy zone again, trying to run down the clock. We have about 10 seconds left. I think we're a touch behind the local time score. So we're going to get over the awful tannoy system here. Yeah, there we go. Alice, who the heck is Alice? Plays over the loudspeakers. The Spice sideline getting loud and involved. I don't think Iceni can hear anything but their own heartbeats through their chests. Chang with the layout to save. Leong back to Chang. Thompson has exposure on the far side of the pitch. That's going to sit and hang for days. Can Gibson block it? No, she cannot. But there is a turnover nonetheless. Huge pressure. Another risky biscuit for Iceni.
Okay, Gibson just gets under all these shots and puts one deep herself. Body's underneath it.
Bailey for sure rising out of the pack. Throws one across. Hamilton Fode, Ella Scoops. Doesn't have too many options, streaking through on the third ask, and it's a block there. Grace Sissel. But a full field stretch for Iceni.
Yeah, good defense on the end zone for Iceni. They got a little bit caught out after the big catch and the lead pass here. But they really hustled to get back. Earn themselves a block.
Well, lovely shot over the top. Thompson ripping it down, casual as always. Doesn't like the look of anything upfield. And we've melted to match for Spice. Lovely cut under from Chang. Bionic knee brace, but that one gets flustered a little bit. I think it might have a foul call. No, just nobody really moving around. It's hot. And this is the last point. So Spice to give themselves a double scoreline for the almighty algorithm. So it's worth them fighting for this one. Bailey in the centre. Wilkinson. High one across back to Bailey. Everyone cutting under all at once. The structure's completely fallen apart, but they managed to keep the disc alive. That one sailing over. Stewart underneath. Wilkinson now. Points. Oh, she knew exactly what she wanted. It's a city floaty disc. Can Bailey get there? No, not quite. Just out of bounds.
Oh, Spice looked so good up until that throw. Even though they were sort of clustering in the middle of the pitch a little bit, as you mentioned, as several players cut under all at the same time, they got out of it immediately, and not even with a sort of nasty swing pass to a tightly marked receiver. Like they dealt with it very, very well. That throw was not it, and Iceni to get this back.
So this to make it just that 1 point fewer difference, trying to do less damage to their current tally. Leong through to Brass. Back to Leong. Oh, who let Hannah Thompson have all that space? But it's not going to work out. Again, Iceni coming short a little bit on these passes, trailing out of bounds.
Yeah, so many of these passes down the sideline have faded out. You really need to put lots of roll curve on if you're going to be throwing and those sort of same third Hucks lead passes.
Well, it's weird though, because again, we have a completely still day. There is absolutely zero wind right now. So this one grinding through. We have five minutes between each game here out on the pitches. So we have some twitchy action from the mixed teams who want to get themselves on this streaming field. That one bobbles off the hands though, and a short field opportunity. Can they just dish it in? Chi. Oh, there's the exposure, and there at long last is the end of this game. Grace Sissel putting on that final point, so a score difference of only 5. We say only 5. We're expecting this to be a tight matchup. Hats off to both teams. That was hard work under the sun, but what are your closing thoughts on this match, Luke?
Well, on the stream yesterday, we saw Spice go down 2 breaks to Poland and then come back and smash them, and they've done it again here. Really great work from Spice. They were just looked like the better team for the vast majority of the game. Lots of stuff for Iceni to go away and think about and work on, but great effort from Spice. Look forward to seeing what they can do in the rest of the tournament.
Well, Iceni did have to take a couple of extra personnel on board for this tournament, so maybe those sort of connections not quite there, having to polish things up a little bit for the rest of their games in this tournament. But for myself, Hannah Pendlebury, for Luke Burgess, and for all of our hard-working ULTI.TV crew, we will see you for the next one. Mixed rounds coming at you. Don't go anywhere.
ULTI.TV.